Welcome to Texas Border Watch, your eyes on the front line for all things immigration, local policy, and border security. I'm Jordan Elder. Texas is now one step closer to being reimbursed for their actions on the southern border. Congress recently passed their major federal funding package, and border reimbursement ended up making it to the finish line. That means Texas could see some of the billions of dollars spent in the last 4 years come right back here to the Lone Star State. $13.5 billion is what Congress ended up deciding on for federal reimbursement. You might remember Texas Governor Greg Abbott was advocating for about $11 billion, and we've shown you before what is included in that amount. Most of that money is for border wall and border barrier funding and personnel costs for the National Guard and DPS to be out on the border. Now, something interesting in the final text of this bill, buoys are called out by name, which means Texas could be reimbursed for that line of barriers in the Rio Grande. We know the first stretch cost about $1 million. States will be able to apply for a piece of this funding, and the Department of Homeland Security is going to be in charge of releasing those grants. The clock for this starts January 20th, 2021, which is the day former President Biden took office. So again, that's when those reimbursement dates can start. Billions of dollars are heading to the southern border as part of this package, and most of it is on installation and improvement of barriers. That includes things like border wall, waterborne barriers like buoys, and a lot of this will go toward the invisible barrier that lawmakers have been telling us about for years now. Things like cameras, ground sensors, and then lighting on those border roads that they've had to build in order to have more of a presence there. There's also going to be another $4.1 billion going toward hiring and training CBP agents and personnel. We've seen a huge push in the last few months to hire more Border Patrol agents and then air and marine agents. So that made it to the final cut. There's also $5 billion in there to upgrade CBP facilities and checkpoints. We've told you about this on Texas Border Watch before. There are some border checkpoints out there that are essentially in a trailer. So lawmakers want to make sure that if we really are going to secure the interior, that those checkpoints are up to the task to do that. There's also more coming for AI tools to help intercept things like drugs coming across the border. Border sheriffs recently got to meet with Governor Greg Abbott and President Trump's border czar Tom Homan at a conference up in Fort Worth. While they were there, as you can see, the governor signed a few border security related bills into law, and one of them requires most Texas sheriffs to enter into partnerships with ICE. It's called the 287G program, and it helps delegate some of that immigration enforcement down to the local level. But we analyzed the counties that have already signed up for this in Texas, and right now there are only 2 border counties that are signed on to be part of it. So we found out why that was.
Around this way.
An abandoned ranch right along Highway 90 in Terrell County.
They'd been using this area for quite a while.
Dozens of backpacks stashed here as migrants finished one journey and started another.
No telling how many hundreds, if not thousands of people came through this area to get picked up along the highway.
Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland says discoveries like this are part of the reason why Terrell County was quick to join the 287G program through immigration and customs enforcement.
I see it as an extra tool in the tool belt.
The program lets law enforcement agencies get in on immigration enforcement action. They can mix and match between 3 models: enforcement power in routine work or an ICE-led task force, serving and executing administrative warrants on migrants in local custody, and identifying and processing people eligible for removal who are already in their jails. Sheriff Cleveland says that's likely the easiest option for counties to sign up for. So they'll spend their time here and then they'll transfer over into ICE custody?
Yes, ma'am. It'll allow us to identify them and then either turn them over to Border Patrol or ICE once they've served their time.
About a third of all Texas counties have signed on to at least one model. But on the border, where sheriffs are arguably more likely to run into illegal aliens, Terrell is one of only 2 counties with a 287G agreement.
They don't have to put the man hours into 287G. They can just call them and they'll be at their jail anytime they need them.
Clint McDonald leads the Texas Border Sheriff's Coalition. He says just because these counties aren't signed up, it doesn't mean they're not working with ICE. Many of them just don't have the manpower to send deputies to training and then take them off the streets to work with ICE. But some of the trainings have now moved online.
They've made it a lot easier for the counties. And so with that, I think you'll see more counties getting involved.
Especially because counties will have to participate if they run or contract with a jail.
The state of Texas has passed a bill that will require all sheriff's offices in the state of Texas to work with ICE under that agreement.
With a choice between the 3 models. Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar says they'll follow the law, but the district attorney's office is still looking into what that will mean.
The warrant service officer model seems to be the one that I would prefer if given the choice between those three.
He says it's a shorter online training and the tasks would keep deputies out in the community.
It's actually not much different than what's already occurring and what's been occurring.
Opponents of this law worry it will increase racial profiling, spread departments too thin, or create liability for taxpayers. For supporters, it's a way to assist the federal agencies. The governor also signed a bill into law that creates a Department of Homeland Security within Texas DPS, and he explained why that's going to be so important, especially on the border.
It does multiple things. One thing that it does is it consolidates the Border Security Operations Center and the Joint Operations and Intelligence Center all within one operation at DPS. It adds personnel, expands the operational scope. It maintains, importantly, it maintains the collaboration that we have in our state. Homeland Security is not a focus solely of one agency like the DPS. This is a multi-jurisdiction, multi-agency operation that insists and must have collaboration at the federal, state, and local levels. So know this, and that is what is going to be going on in DPS just enhances the collaboration that already exists with our sheriffs across the state.
That's all for this week's Texas Border Watch. You can read more about any of these stories over on our websites, news4sanantonio.com or foxsanantonio.com. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.